Hello and welcome back everybody to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is round 3 at Sturup Raceway. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner, and we've got an exciting round of competition coming up. What's going on, Tanner?
Hey there, Craig. Oh, what a insane round of competition we will have. Looking at this track, it is so great. I know we were at Sturup last year, but this year the track just looks so much better.
Yeah, a lot of updates to the track. The real track got repaved a couple years back, so the tarmac is a lot darker. So we, darkened that up and redid all the textures. And everybody watching, definitely stick around later. We will be releasing this track on our Discord. Let's pull up that line map for today. Start of the track at the top of your screen at clip 1 with that small decel zone on initiation, and then back on throttle for a long part of the course here through clip 2, your next outside zone, and then down into clip 3, inside clip 1, and then out to the next outside zone, getting into it and leaving it pretty much when it starts and when it finishes, and then back across the track for your next decel zone that ends right when that wall ride starts. We've actually rebuilt that wall as well, a lot smoother this time around, and down the hill the drivers will go all the way around the wall, leaving clip 5 and across the track once more to clip 6 for a small decel zone, back on throttle when that zone begins as well. Drivers want to stay along that wall, and then back into the next inside clip at clip 7, and then finishing wide. We'll go over the qualifying rules today. Drivers are given 2 non-consecutive judge laps to qualify. Highest score counts. Tiebreakers are determined by the lower qualifying score. Each qualifying run is judged on line, angle, and impact. So a little different. No style that we judge. We've changed it for impact. Line, of course, is that ideal path a vehicle must take through the course and are marked by inner clips and outer zones. Angle is the amount of angle the car uses throughout the given run, and impact is defined as the overall commitment throughout the run. And the emphasis on this category is to reward aggressive drivers who demonstrate excellent car control at all times. And then changing things up maybe a little differently here. We've done it for a full season now. This is our next season doing it as well. It seems to work good. Each judge will score the entire run with a maximum of 100 points. And then those 3 scores are averaged, and that will be the driver's scored run.
All right. And it looks like we're ready to get underway with qualifying here at round 3, starting off with Christopher Pina in that beautiful BMW. A good initiation into that first outside clip. He's got to hold it all the way around this outside here, then bring it inside for the first inside clip of the course. Now for the first of the 2 wall rides as he comes in, getting up onto that wall. It's looking good so far out here for the very first run. Putting the car exactly where it needs to go. Good wall ride there on the second part. Now for the second inside clip and finishing out his first run here of qualifying.
Yeah, not a bad way to start things out. Christopher Pine, let's wait for that score to come in, and 87 to start things out. And on to Yasir San in his S14. Nice entry, very smooth through turn 1 so far. Tucking in nicely for that inside clip. And a fairly early transition there for clip 5. Flowing through it nicely though. Staying along that wall and entering into that last outside zone. Very tidy run from Yasir there. We'll wait on those judges.
You know, the last 2 rounds, the score's have been super high for qualifying. So, you know, I really expect nothing less of this round as well. And there it is there with an 88 there from Yasir as we move on to Yaro Tresh and his S15. Really quick initiation as he comes up into that second outer zone. Looking good though, holding his angle the whole way through. He makes the transition to the first wall ride. Can he get it on the wall? Yes, just raising it, hanging that wing over the wall as he transitions down to the second wall ride. Not as deep on it, but sets himself up good for that inside clip. Finishes out his run of qualifying.
Yeah, solid run there from Tresh. I imagine this is going to be a pretty high score here in Group 1. And there it is, 90.3 on the board. And we're on to Jake Wise. Unfortunately missing his new livery there. It actually is yellow and done nicely. Let's see if he can put on a nice run anyway. And looking good so far on a very nice line there through turn 1, through that outside zone. picking up throttle when he needs to. Does leave the wall just a little bit there, but sets in nicely to this last one. Keeps things going. Foot to the floor and across the line, Jake Wise.
Jake Wise with a couple mistakes and landing him a 84.7 for his first run. But nothing that can't be shaped up for his second, as we have Victor Alves ready to go for his first run. Good job on the initiation. Puts it nice and out there for the second outer zone. Grabbing that inside clip as well. Listen to this car. We can just hear it racing through this course. Good on the first wall as he comes to make that transition and put it onto the second wall. Gets it nice and in there, tapping the wall right before the end, grabbing that inside clip and finishing out that first run of qualifying.
Yeah, Victor looking dialed there in that qualifying run. Let's wait and see on those judges. Giving the wall just a little tap, but look at there, a 90.3 flashing on the board. And we're on to Jordan El Nasser and his Viper. Having a bit of bad luck last season here at this track, been looking good so far. Does leave a little bit of room on outsides 2, but grabs 3 pretty good. Nice transition across, picks up throttle. Working himself out there to the wall. And another nice transition, picking up throttle when he needs to. Very good through that outside zone. And across that finish line.
Not bad from Jordan, actually. That's a very smooth run. And it lands him in 82.7, so some things to work on for the next run for him, but I'm sure he'll pick it up. So we move over to Dan Dirks. Dan Dirks in his BMW, initiating in, getting through that first outer zone good. Trying to grab that second one, not as deep as he could have been, but stays with the run as he comes through the inner clip and through clip number 4, now transitioning to the wall ride. Not as deep onto the wall as he could be, but playing it a little conservative as he comes into the second wall. Ooh, almost looked like a little tap there. A little wide there for the final inside clip and finishing out that run for Dan Dirks.
Yeah, not too shabby from Dan Dirks. Sort of Dan's home track. Here is Sturup. And at 83.7 for Dan Dirks. And we're on to Octavian Challeroux and his V8 powered Super here. And a nice initiation, really fast there. It does leave a little bit of room for outside 2. Grabs that inner clip though. Transitions really early there. And has to make a correction. Ooh, a little boop on the wall keeps things going. Sets in nicely to the last one though. And giving it a little touch again. Putting that bumper deep into that wall. And finishing out his run.
If in doubt, flat out. As we have Octavian's scores come in with an 80.3. He's going to have to clean up those walls a little bit, not bash right into them. As we have Zach O'Sullivan, this man's chasing for the lead. And he is doing good so far, right on the line. Look at this, how fast he went through those first 4 clips. He is just tearing through this course. Transitioning onto the wall ride. Nice onto the wall. Now one last transition into the second wall ride. Nice into it. Look at this run from Zach. Very good run from Zach.
Man. And the aggression every single time he picked up that throttle was really nice. And 86.3 on the board for Zach O'Sullivan. We're on to Cages. Bit of a slow start from Cages, but he's going to send that car on in on a nice line. A little correction there. Leaving a bit of room for outside 2. Picks up 3 and into 4. Ooh, oh no. I was concerned he was going to go into the wall, but then over angles. And unfortunately has to shut that run down, so he will get a 0 for his first run, but he's got another run. We know Cages has got it in him to put down a solid run.
Yeah, so Cages there getting that 0, but now we're back around to the top. Christoph Rapina in his BMW sitting on an 87 already. He's going to want to look to improve that as we see him come through that inside clip and out to clip 4. He's doing a good job here so far. Putting the car right where it needs to go. Could have been just a tad deeper onto that wall as he transitions onto the second wall ride. Looking good around there, holding a nice line through it as he comes through that final inside clip and across the line.
Yeah, another pretty good run from Christoph there. Wait and see if he can better that 87. 88.7, he sure does. We've got a full top 8 there on the top left of your screen as Yasir Saad begins his second run, filling outside zone 2. And the next one as well, all the way out to that track edge. And again, almost picking up that wall, but drives forward just a little bit just to stay off of it. Keeps things going and looking good here through a second qualifying run, trying to better that 88. I think he might just do it there with that run.
It was a very good run, very committed run.
And we've got a party and a 90 on the board from Yasir.
And we do have a party. Yaroslav has brought out the party lights. He said it's time to go and improve that 90.3. I qualified for the first run on. Good snap to angle right off the initiation, filling out all of outer zone 2. Driving that inside clip nicely as he pushes his way out to clip 4, transitioning now onto this deadly wall ride. This can make or break your run as he puts it right on the wall, hanging that bumper or that wing over the wall there as we see him come through that second wall ride. Could have stayed on the wall a little bit longer, but makes it work and finishes out his second and impressive run of qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, trying to better the 90.3, and he might do it as well. Very strong run, and 91.3 he does. He betters it by 1 point. And we're back around to Jake Wise. Sitting on that 84.7. And an aggressive initiation, but goes too wide, does drop 2 tires. Very easy thing to do here at Sturup Raceway. And then into the wall, unfortunately. So he will have to sit with that 84.7 and stick around to see if he will make it into that top 32.
84.7 with the way the scores have been the last 2 rounds. That's a scary number to have for qualifying.
It sure is.
We wait for Victor Alves to get the solid lights, and there we go. Victor Alves off for his second run of qualifying, already sitting on a 90.3. Can he improve? Good initiation through outer zone 1. Beautiful through outer zone 2 as well. Victor's really showing off here as he puts it right on the edge of the dirt for clip 4, and now bringing it around the wall ride right to the edge of it as he transitions for the final wall ride. This has been a good run from Victor. Really committed around this course as he finishes out his run.
Yeah, that might have been the fastest run I think we may have seen today so far in this group. And 88.7 on the board, so it does fall just shy of the 90.3, but still sitting in second place right now. And we're on to Jordan El Nasser for his second run. Again, sitting on the 82.7, comes up pretty short for outside 2, makes a little correction there along that inside clip. And into the first downhill wall ride. Nice and smooth, fills that zone pretty well. And along the wall in the last and final outside zone, grabs that inner clip and across that finish line. So maybe a little close to beat that 82.7.
Yeah. Sadly, Jordan only getting a 78 on his second run, so he's got to hope for some miracles to make it into the top 32 today as we move over to Dan Dirks, sitting on an 83.7 with a good initiation so far, really putting it out there on outer zone 2, making it through that inside clip and pushing for clip 4. See how he does on the wall ride now, a little conservative on his way in, not as deep onto the wall, but pushes out near the end as he transitions to the second wall. Again, not putting it right up on there, but holding a nice solid line as he finishes out his second run of qualifying.
and an 83 on the board. So falling just shy of the 83.7. Again, we'll have to see where that cutoff ends up being today. As previous rounds been, into the 87s, 89s, and here we are with Octavian with his 80.3, and a little bit too inside there for the inside clip, which makes him inside for the next outside zone and then into the wall. An unfortunate one to see there for Octavian.
Very unfortunate there. An 80.3. That's definitely not a good score. He's gotta again hope for miracles. But you never know with the Virtual Drift Championship. It could surprise us. We move over to Zach O'Sullivan sitting on an 86.3. He knows he wants to improve that score, and he's showing it right now, being on the lock stops almost all the way through the first 4 clips. Zach O'Sullivan's really going for it here. Nice job around the wall. One last transition, one last wall ride, puts it deep into the wall without touching it, and gets through that final inside clip clean. That was a great run from Zach.
Sure was. Trying to beat the 86.3 and a 91.3 on the board for Zach O'Sullivan, last season's Rookie of the Year, and looking good here in the 3rd round of Season 6. We're on to Cages. The last run of Group 1. Ooh, and a big angle correction there from Cages. It's going to push him wide for inside clip. He does manage to pick up the next outside zone. He does drive off that wall a bit. At this point, just trying to get some points on the board and looking good through the last and final outside zone. And there he goes across the finish line.
And that's our first group already done, Craig.
Yeah, it sure is, and a little different today. Instead of doing groups of 8, we're doing groups of 10 this time to see if we can, knock down some of those groups, take maybe a little bit less breaks, and get through qualifying quicker so we can get on to the main event where we'll see battles later on today. But again, that is it for the first group. Trish in first place with a 91.3. Zach O'Sullivan right behind him with his 91.3. And Victor Alves with a 90.3. That is your current top 3. We'll take a break and load in the next group of qualifying. All right, and just like that, we are back for some more qualifying. We're done with Group 1. There you are, up on the board. If you just now joined us, Trish in first place, 91.3. Zach O'Sullivan, last year's Rookie of the Year, 91.3. And Victor Alves, last year's Hard Charge Award, 90.3. 1, 2, and 3 there. So drivers in Group 2 are just getting their practice runs in. There you see Ryan Literal go by in his S15. It sounds like they're being rounded up to the line to get our first driver ready, Erkos Jerkis. And there he goes off the line, blazing down the start. And entering in quickly, goes all the way out to the edge of the track for outside zone 2. And looking good here through his first run of qualifying. All the way out to the wall. If I remember right, he did win this round of competition last season, round 3 at Sturup. And again, just on one for his first qualifying run of the day.
That was a very nice run there from Ericus. And a 92.3 there for Ericus's first run. So very, very good run there from Ericus, just as we all expected. Next up to the line is Logan Daniels. Logan in this crazy wide body S15. Initiates in. A little slow to get to that angle off the initiation, but stays with it all the way on the outside of outer zone 2. Doing a good job at holding it together all the way through clip 4. Now for the wall ride at clip 5. Puts it nice and deep into the wall. Logan Daniels on a tear here in Group 2. Showing what he is out here to do in that crazy looking S15.
Yeah, pretty solid run from Logan Daniels there. Way on the judges. 88.3, solid run, and that puts him in the current top 8 there up on the left. And we're on to William Holloway, starting the season out in an E92 and then switching to the smaller F22 and looking good here through the first turn of Sturup Raceway. Up at the top of the hill and then back down we go, all the way against the wall there, utilizing a little bit of that left foot brake through that outer zone, and sets it nicely for the last one. Driving into the inside clip and then back out to the outside and across that finish line.
There we go. So William with an 86.7 for his first run of qualifying. Now for Kevin Stump in the beautiful 400Z, and this has to be my favorite car of the year. This thing is just amazing, and it sounds great. Goes way too wide, though, putting out one tire, but he holds it together for the inside clip and or clip 4 as he transitions to the wall ride at clip 5 here, but can't seem to get it up onto the wall. A little hesitant to really go for it. As Kevin Stump puts it onto the second wall, but again, he's just being hesitant on throttle and not really going for it.
Yeah, seemed to play it maybe a little safe in that run. Was Kevin Stump. He'll certainly end up with a score that disappears quickly, and it's a 78.7. And we're on to Alan Hines, going for the big flick initiation all the way out to that outer edge, and just on a perfect line here through the course. A little hesitant on throttle there for this outside zone. Taps the wall just a little bit. And filling the very last outside zone. Driving in for that inner clip and across that finish line is Alan Hines. So a couple of small little deductions there, and a 90.7 quickly popping up.
But a 90.7 is still a great run. And with those small mistakes, he can clean those up, as we have Alshetwi here ready for his first run. Really getting it in, filling those first 3 zones beautifully, and getting clip 4 nice as well. Transitioning down for the wall ride, getting on throttle nice and early, holding it all the way around. Very good job from Alshetwi here. Look at that. Beautiful around that inside clip as well.
Yeah, car super planted through the course there from Alchetwi. And 88.3, solid score up on the board. We're on to Yuna. New E46, changing chassis this season and using a bit of left foot brake there in the first turn to get out to that outside zone. But a solid transition into the wall ride down the hill. Staying out there wide. And overall pretty good other than that correction made in turn 1 there.
Yuna finishing out with an 87.3, so still some points left up there to get, but it was overall a very good first run. As we move over now to Ryan Literal. Ryan Literal came out last for Riga and really surprised a lot of us. Let's see how he does. Well, you know, he's still on track. That's all that matters. He went off track, but now he's back on track. I just feel like I commentator cursed him. As we have Literal coming through the wall now, but sadly, this run's going to be a 0. Which sucks, but good to have you out here. I feel bad.
Yeah, I think so. It really, it really just looked like he maybe initiated a bit too late there, which really pushed him out wide, or maybe even you know, experienced a bit of lag on initiation. But either way, we are on to Matthias, entering in nicely, filling outside zone 2. And on a really good line here. Does leave that zone maybe a little early. Gets to the other side on time, though. And then down the hill. Could have been a little deeper there towards the latter half of that outside zone, but looks good through the next one. And taking out that cone. And there he goes across the finish line, but not a bad run from Matthias.
No, Mateus putting on quite a fire run, actually, looking at the scores that have already come in. An 88.3 for his first run, so that's not too shabby. As we have Alexander Jaeger now ready to go for his first attempt here at qualifying. Good initiation, right to angle, holding it right through outer zone 2 there. Looking good through the inside clip, punting the cone a little bit there at the front end of his car. So he tries to set up for the wall ride of clip 5 and puts it right along the wall there. Doing a very good job as he transitions to that second wall ride. Just a little bobble, but holds it together and finishes out his first run qualifying.
Yeah, not looking bad in this S14. He started the season out in that Lexus, but then changed to the S chassis. And 90 on the board for Alexander, so seems to be paying off. And we're back around to Erikas for his second run, coming off the 92.3, currently number 1. And looking good through the second one here as well. Does end up on the outside a little too early, but keeps things going. Transitions nicely. A little hesitant on throttle, but still filling the zone. Gets back across the track. An overall very solid run once again. Imagine it will be a good tiebreaker, but I don't think it's going to be quite that 92.3 that he got on his first run.
And sadly, not quite there, but an 89.7, so a great tiebreaker score if somebody else manages to get it. Now, Logan Daniels sitting on that 88.3, did a good job on his first round of qualifying, goes a little too far in, though, then drops a tire into outside zone 2, but makes up for it into the first inside clip, and the next outside zone as he transitions into that wall ride, putting it right into the wall, just like you should. Transitioning now to the second wall ride, leaving it just a tad early, but looking good. And Logan Daniels finishing out his final run of qualifying.
Another solid run from Logan. Waiting on those judges to come through. And a 90 on the board for Logan. That'll move him up into the qualifying position of 7. And we're on to William Holloway again in this F22. flying up the hill here. Fills that outside zone, gets across the track, very aggressive there, picks up throttle, and he's all the way out to the wall, filling that zone nicely. Looking to better that 86.7, and he might do it here with this very aggressive run across that finish line.
William really going for it on his second run, leaving nothing on the table, and ends up improving a little bit with an 88. Somebody who definitely needs to improve, Kevin Stump in his 400Z here, sitting on a 78.7. Really hesitant on his last run. Let's see if he can maybe pick it back up and go for it again, as he does a good job through initiation and the first 4 clipping points here. Transitions for the wall ride. Let's see, no hesitation, but still not as deep as he could be, or how much other drivers have been. We see him put it really nice and deep into that final wall ride, grab that inside clip, and hopefully improve on his final run of qualifying.
And he does by 10 points, 88.7. And we are quickly back around to Alan Hines for his second run of qualifying, coming off the 90.7. And looking good here through the first 2 outside zones. Nicely up the hill through the little bump there. And into clip 5, staying wide along the wall. Transitions across just in time for clip 6, that last and final outside zone. There it is again across that finish line. 90.7 was run 1. Let's see if that's enough to better that score, and a 92.7, so now number 1 qualifier.
Just out beating Erica by just a fraction of a point there. That's amazing. As we have Abdullah Shetwi sitting on that 88.3, initiating in, holding it on that white line the whole way through. Shetwi really going for it here on this second run, as he puts it right up into the wall and holds it there the whole way around. Looking so good, Abdul, as he transitions for this final wall ride, just scraping that bumper along it as he comes through that final inside clip and finishes out his second run of qualifying.
Yeah, another just planted run from Abdul there in his second run of qualifying, trying to better the 88.3, and he does, 93. So now, once again, a new number 1 qualifier, Abdul Al Shetwi, and Yuna entering in this E46. Looking good coming up the hill. A little correction there with the throttle as well. But he hangs on to the line, enters into clip 5 nicely. Fills it all the way down. And good transition timing. Does leave the wall just a little bit there before that zone ended, and there he goes across that finish line again, trying to better that 87.3 you see at the bottom of your screen. We'll see if that's going to be enough.
Well, it may have been enough, but not enough to improve, as he exactly matches his other score with an 87.3. Now this man, Ryan Literal, sitting on a 0, needs to get some points on the board, and this time way better at holding it around those first 3 clipping points, putting it a little deep into 4. Could have been a little deeper, but sticks with it. Just trying to get points on the qualifying board at this point for Ryan Literal, but doing a good job with it, putting the car where it needs to go, and he hits the wall and goes off track.
So unfortunate, especially with that first turn looked fantastic. He was on the right line, looking very, very good. He did have a slight bobble in that first transition after the, cresting at the top of the hill in between clip 4 and 5. But man, just unfortunate to see him go into the wall and get 2 zeros for today. But we're moving on. Here's Matthias Nordingen looking good through turn 1 on the right line here. Full commitment. Transitions across. Ooh, I could see it coming just a little bit too deep. You can't really put a tire on that white line, because you got to make room for that wall. And unfortunately, he meets the wall and will get a 0 on the board. But still, 88.3 on the board might get him into top 32 later today.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, you know, an 88, that's our probably going to be our cutoff point. But our final run here of Group 2, Alexander Yeager, ready to go for his second run. Good initiation, lots of speed, holding that angle as he brings it around to that inside clip and pushes out from clip 4, doing a good job transitioning. He's going to make it. Oh, he does. Ooh, now I'm scared of this wall as we see the driver come around it and transition for the second wall run. And he is just putting it out there, going as hard as he can for the final run of Group 2. And can he improve the 90 that he already set?
And he sure does, a 91.7. That puts him in 4th position currently after 2 groups of qualifying. And again, groups are a little bit bigger this round. Instead of doing 8, we're doing groups of 10. So just 2 extra drivers, but cuts down on the amount of groups. And that's going to do it for Group 2. We're going to take another small break, load in Group 3, and we'll be right back with some more qualifying. All right, and again, just like that, we are back for Group 3 of qualifying. This is round 3 at Sturup Raceway. And it's been an exciting round of qualifying so far. There is your current top 8 after 2 groups. Abdul El-Shetwi coming out on top with a 93. Alan Hines with his 92.7. Eric Jerkis with his 92.3 for your current top 3 qualifiers. Group 3 drivers just taking a couple of practice runs. I believe we've got our driver at the line ready to go. It's going to be Sean O'Dew and his E46. There goes the lights. We are off for Group 3. Big flick initiation from Sean. Committed on that throttle. Does leave just a little bit of room for outside zone 2 and inside clip. Drops a bit of tire at the next outside zone, but settles in nicely to the wall. Does leave it a little bit early though. Sets him up wide, gives the wall a bit of a tap there, keeps it going. There he goes across that finish line for his first qualifying run of round 3.
And sadly, Sean getting a 78.7, so something he is going to have to work on for his second run as we move around to Reese Tatterson. Another man that's sitting on a pretty high note as of lately with the MPC just happened last week. We'll see what he can do here, though, for round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championships. So We see him come through the first 3 outer zones, nice and deep into clip 4 there with that snap of a transition. Reese really putting it in the wall. I think that's the deepest I've seen anyone go into that wall all day without messing it up. Look at that. Reese just staying committed. Left foot down, or right foot down, and just let's go for it. Holy man, Reese.
Reese just displaying how much smoother the wall is this season. Man, I mean, it really did look like he was just riding it the whole way down. And a quick flash of an 87.7 on the board for Reese Tatterson. And we are on to Mark Pretty for his first run. Entering in a little hesitant on the throttle there after his initiation, but on the right line. Does maybe drop a smidgen of a tire there. Bounces along the wall. Keeps things going. Transitions across, looking good in his new livery as well, I must say. There he goes across that finish line. Mark Pretty for his first qualifying run of the day.
And Mark Pretty with an 87.7 matching Reese Tatterson's run, so definitely both of them are going to have to improve on that or get some better points. We have Andreas Linné now in his JZA 90 Supra. Looking good so far. Whoa! Putting it up onto the grass just a little bit as he dives down to that inside clip. Grabbing clip 4 beautifully and transitioning for the wall ride. Little bobble, little hesitation there as we see Andreas transition now onto the last wall ride, but putting it right where it needs to go and hit that final inside clip and finish out his first run of qualifying.
Yeah, not bad from Andreas. Again, returning in that Supra. Looking good. 84.7, so he might want to better that to be safe for top 32, and we're on to Adriel Mikado looking good here on initiation. Full throttle. All the way out there to that outside zone. Does maybe drop an inside tire there along that inside clip, but picks up throttle when he needs to for clip 5. Does leave just a little bit of safety room for himself along that wall, but not that one, putting the bumper along the edge. And there he goes across that finish line for his first run of the day, and not too bad. Maybe a couple of things just to improve on just a little bit there, leaving a little bit of room, but a solid score, 87.7.
And 87.7 is a very respectable score this early into qualifying, as we have Brandon Gardner initiating it in that big Infinity of his, putting it right on that white line. Whoa, just getting it back on course just before putting a tire off. That was a very good job from Brandon, as we see him transition onto the wall now, putting it nice and deep into the wall and holding it all the way around, transitioning again for the final wall ride, leaving in all the right amount of room. Grabbing that inside clip is Brandon Gardner.
And an 87 on the board for Brandon, so not a bad score at all for his first run. We're on to Magomed Omarov and his IS300. Looking good so far through the first turn. Does correct just a little bit there to push the car wide after that transition to the wall, but he does so nonetheless, sticks with it along that last and final wall ride as well, clean around the inside clip, and finishing out his first run.
And not too shabby. We'll probably need to improve that in 84 for Magomed as we move over to Cormac. Cormac in his S14. Initiating in. Nice smooth initiation. Holding it nicely along that white line. Bring it down to grab that inside clip. Just looking nice and smooth out there as he transitions to the wall ride. Nice on the wall. Little couple clutch kicks there as we hear. Try and settle it out as we see him transition onto that final wall ride. Just putting the car where it needs to be. Could have been a bit closer to that inside clip, but putting it where it needs to be and doing a nice solid first qualifying run.
Yeah, not too bad from the king of clutch clicks there, and an 85 on the board. We're on to Darren Baker, excuse me, Baron Daker, entering his GTR in and looking good. Super committed, had a super strong finish at round 1, Tokansippa. And flying through the course here in this GTR, very settled. Picks up throttle, sticks with the line and angle, keeps things going. And there he goes across that finish line, trying to put himself in that top qualifying position with that run.
Looking at the scores coming in, it's close, a 91.7 for Darren Baker. So very good job. But now we got Stephen Hatcher, a fellow Canadian, ready to give it up in his rotary. Boy, what an initiation. Just snapped it to angle. Ooh, Stephen not leaving anything on the line for this one as he destroys the Limera on that rotary. Transition. Holds it together, though. Holds it together along that wall ride. Looks like he was going to over-rotate, but he just locked those front tires, held it in angle, finishes out the rest of his runs. That's probably going to hurt his score quite a bit, but that initiation, that was e-brake right to angle.
Yeah, immediately. And then, yeah, what's going to hurt him there with that 86.7 is that over-rotation into clip 5. He does well to keep it going. But we're on to Sean. Oh, no, he's going to go wide. Drop 2 tires, almost more than half the car. Really close to dropping 3 there. Does somehow keep things going. Settles into clip 5 along the wall, but starts to leave it again. Maybe having a bit too much grip dialed into the rear of that car as he leaves that outside zone as well. There he goes around that inner clip and then almost straightening out across that finish line is Sean O'Dew. So not sure if that's going to be enough to get him on into the top 32, sitting on a 78.7 and a 67.7 for that run.
It's a sad low score for Sean, but keep working on it and keep improving, and we'll see you at the next round as we have Reese Tatterson initiating in. Reese Tatterson looking very smooth through these first 3 clips. Could have been more to the inside on the inside clip as he transitions now to the wall ride. He already put it deep into the wall the last time. Will he do it again? He really more conservative this time around. So he transitions for the second wall ride, putting it nice and on the wall, doing a way better job in the final inside clip as he finishes out his second run of qualifying.
Yeah, it looked like his car picked up a ton of grip through the bump at the top of the hill, and it kind of sent him towards the left-hand side of the track really early. He's going to tie that score there, and we're going to move along to Mark Pretty, currently sitting on his 87.7. And coming up short for outside zone 2. Does fill outside zone 3 fairly well and settles into the wall ride with the bumper along the wall. Nice transition across as well. Picks up throttle quickly on that inside clip. There he goes, finishing out his second run, trying to better the 87.7. That run is going to be close.
An 84.7 for Mark Pretty there. So not quite that 87, but let's hope he'll make it work as another person who needs to improve here. Andreas sitting on that 84.7. Initiating in, looking a lot smoother this time around, just nicely holding the angle, driving that inside clip nicely, looking way better on this run than he did on his first. Let's see how he does into that wall ride. Does not over rotate this time. Keeps it nice and smooth, but goes into the wall right at the end. The tire barriers catch him out.
First to see that today, just going really deep at the back half of that outside zone, and as you said, catches that tire wall, and it sends him around. Unfortunate to see from him, and we're on to Adriel and his second run of the day, trying to better the 87.7 if he wants to be safe for top 32. Looking good, does leave just a little bit of room for outside zone 2, gets all the way into 3. Nice transition this time. Ooh, gives the wall just a little tap, but keeps it going. Very small correction after it, and very quick. Taps the wall once again. He does send him just a little wide there. Has to make the throttle correction to grab that inside clip, but he does just that, and he'll finish out his second run.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think that'll be high enough. Then it's 87, which it's not. It's a 75.3, but looking at the scores right now, an 87 is still a good score to get into top 32 as we have Brandon Gardner sitting on an actual 87 flat, doing a good job through the first two outer zones, grabbing that inside clip, holding it nice and wide on clip 4. How he does on the wall ride here, keeps it nice and angled up through that whole wall ride, just nicely putting the bumper on both of them. Comes through that inside clip to finish out his last run of qualifying.
Yeah, not a bad run from Brandon there. And at 87.3, so does better at just a smidgen there. We're back around to Magomed and his IS throwing that car into that first outside zone. And on a really good line here through turn 1. Comes across the track. Now, whoa, has to make a big correction there. Almost straightens up. Somewhat reinitiates there. Keeps things going. And certainly wanted to better that 84. But with that big correction and then coming up short for that outside line while finishing the course there, I don't think that's going to be enough. But who knows, 84 might end up being enough to make it into top 32 today.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the scores right now, and it's seeming like it might be. I mean, we still have a lot of groups left to go, so that can it's always changing as we have Cormac here sitting on that 85. But right now, it's looking like so far, well, everybody's into the top 32. It's not until the next group when we find out what exactly that cutoff is. We have Cormac coming into that wall ride and holding it nicely around it as he transitions for the last time. Puts it on the wall. A bit of a correction there as he came into it, but held with it all the way through and holds that angle all the way to the finish.
And at 89.7, so he does better his 85, and we're on to Darren Baker in his GTR. And again, looking good here through turn 1. Filling that outside zone at the top of the hill. Nice and smooth transition there. Picks up throttle, maybe a little hesitant, but very deep through clip 5. As well as the last one, just burying the bumper into the wall. There he goes, finishing out run 2 and sitting on a 91.7. That run is going to be close as well.
And an 89.7 for Darren Baker. So very good tiebreaker score when it comes down to it. But Steven Hatcher, let's see if he gives us another crazy initiation. A little smoother than the last one, but hanging on to that white line. Sitting on an 86.7. He knows he wants to improve. Goes into the dirt just a little bit as he transitions for that wall. Locks up those fronts. Tries to keep the car into angle. Really putting it right up against that wall the whole way through. Destroying the limiter on that rotary engine as he comes through that final inside clip and puts it across the line to finish out Group 3 of qualifying.
Yeah, great way to finish that group out. We wait on those judges for Steven Hatcher's score. And an 88.3 on the board for Steven Hatcher. And again, we will take just a small break, load in Group 4. We'll be right back with some more qualifying. All right, and we are back for Group 4 of qualifying. You're just now joining us. There is your current top 8, Abdul with his 93, Alan Hines 92.7, and Ericas with his 92.3 for 1, 2, and 3. Here comes our first driver for our next group.
All right. So here goes Carol Hildebrand for his first run of qualifying here of Group 4. As he initiates in and keeps it nice and on that line. Now, the great special thing about Group 4, here's 2 more drivers, and we will find out what the real cutoff is for the top 32. And after that, it's everyone fighting for those positions. We see Carol really get up on that wall, doing a good job at putting that S15 exactly where it needs to go. S14 with a 15 front end. And gets that last inside clip and finishes out his first run very clean.
Yeah, Carol looking good once again here in qualifying. And a 91.3 on the board for his first run. And that's going to put him into the top 8. We're on to, should be Daniel Mora. So we got Victor not showing up for his run there, unfortunately. We do not see him on the server. And entering in quickly here in this BMW. Does come up a little shy for outside zone 3 though. Picks up that throttle rise, that limiter all the way down the hill. Transitions across, picks up throttle fairly early and drives off the zone. Maybe set into the zone with a little bit too much angle, and there he goes across that finish line. So a big deduction there in the last and final outside zone.
Yeah, it's kind of, there we go. A 71.7 for Daniel Mora. Move over to Alexander Element in the Ferrari. Alexander Element coming down that straight and initiating in. Good initiation, holding that angle along that white line. Filling all of outer zone 2 and grabbing the inside clip clean. Not really many mistakes so far here from Element. He puts it onto the wall for clip 5. Now transitioning down into the final outer zone. Doing a very clean job, very smooth run here from Alexander Element.
And looking good in the Ferrari once again in that big giant chassis. And an 89 on the board. So not a bad run at all. And we are on to Darius Ostraka. Big flick initiation. Darius has been doing very well so far here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Rookie driver here in this BMW and setting in nicely to clip 5 and down this hill. Riding that bumper along the wall. And just very committed here through this run, and it extremely smooth from Darius Ostraka.
You know, it's always these smooth runs that always yield the best results, and that shows it a 91.7 for Darius. So very good job from them. So we have Austin Zaleski now ready to go for his run. Initiating in, again, looking nice and smooth through the first 2 outside zones, grabbing that inside clip. Get nice and deep into clip 4 as well as he makes the transition for that wall ride, and this is what can make and break a run as he puts it nicely along the wall. Transitions for the final wall ride. Could have been a little closer to it, but makes up for it for the finish.
Yeah, not a bad start for Austin. Does leave a little bit of room for that last and final outside zone, but overall, strong run. Look at there, 91 up on the board, and that puts him into 10th. And we're on to Jonathan Simpson. His awesome 180 here, throwing this car in. Committed to the throttle and just flying up the hill here. Does make a small correction there around that inside clip. Whoa!
Ooh.
backs the car up just a little bit too much, gives the wall a tap. He does keep things going, but either a massive deduction coming or perhaps a 0. I don't think it will be enough to quite get a 0 there, but it is close to being on that unchaseable side of things, as I think if anybody was following him, it would have been bad.
Yeah, so a 75 comes in there for Jonathan Simpson as we have Vicaris ready for his run in his BMW, doing a good job through the initiation in the first inside clip, sorry, as he transitions now down into the wall ride of clip 5. These runs do go by quick, so make sure, do not blink, do not look away, or else you miss them. Comes through that final outer zone and into that inside clip and finishing out his first run of qualifying.
Yeah, not a bad run from Vicaris. And yeah, exactly a 90 on the board, putting him into 14th. Mustafa at the line, a very exciting driver to watch here in qualifying, as he burns those tires down all the way through the start, enters in very nicely all the way to the edge, almost dropping tires there. Very close. Picking up throttle when he needs to for this wall ride, puts the bumper along at the wing over it, and sets into the last and final one. Just a smidgen of left foot brake there to hang it out there. And there he goes across that finish line with another solid qualifying run.
Yeah, Mustafa really knows how to lay down in qualifying, and he just showed it right there, a 90.3. What a group Group 4 has been. All these high scores right off the bat. So we have Brandon Patrick, the last driver of Group 4, initiating in that Ferrari as well. Doing a good job so far, carrying a lot of speed. Could have been a little more inside on that inside clip, a little closer to it, but makes it work for how he is doing his run here. Putting it nice against the wall for clip 5, making that final transition, just holding it nicely. Again, another smooth run from Brandon.
Yeah, really making that chassis work is Brandon Patrick. I imagine it'll be a decent score up on the board for him. And it is a 90.7. We are quickly on to Carol Hildebrand for his second run. A little hesitant on the initiation there, and has to make a few corrections to grab outside zone 2 the way he wanted. Hangs on to a lot of angle there. Pulls out of it and picks up throttle really late for outside zone 4 and along that wall. Settles in nicely to the last one though. Keeps things going either way, still sitting on a 91.3. Will certainly be enough to get him on into top 32.
Yeah, an 83 there for his final run, so not too shabby. So we skip over Victor, who did not show up for his second run, and go straight to Daniel Mora, sitting on a 71.7, so he's going to need to improve it. Let's see what he can do here. Puts it nice in outer zone 2. Good job through the initiation as he comes down through that inside clip. Looking a little more clean this run. Let's see what happens here on the wall ride. Whoa! Puts it in, almost over rotates, but hangs on as he transitions down into that second wall ride. And that last inside clip, not as deep as he could be, threw on a lot of angle at the end there to finish out the run.
Yeah, he sure did. Unfortunate one to see. Currently sitting on a 71.7 and then a 67 for his second run. And we are quickly back around to Alexander Element in his big Ferrari. Currently sitting on the 89. And filling outside zone 2 nicely on a very good line coming up the hill. In and out of that zone. Just flying down the hill here. Again, very smooth from Alexander. There he goes across that finish line. Very quick run from Alexander Element as well. Again, sitting on the 89. Will maybe want to better it just a little bit, and he does with a 92.3.
Yeah, very good score there again from Element with another smooth run. It seems like these smoother runs are being judged just a little bit higher. And I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Smooth is fast, smooth is cool. What's nice to see is we have Darius Ostreka here sitting on that 91.7 already. And again, another driver just looking super smooth out there. We see him come into that final wall ride, putting the car exactly where it needs to go. Look at that. Nice and across the line for his final run of qualifying.
Yeah, another really good run from Darius. Very strong in qualifying all 3 rounds of competition so far, as well into the top 32. We'll certainly see him there today with that 91.7, then a 90.3 for run 2. We're on to Austin Zalewski in his Supra. As well, sitting on a 91 and all the way out to the edge for outside zone 2. Grabs that inner clip and then in and out of that zone quickly at the top of the hill. Sets into this outside zone nicely with the wall ride. Bumper along it the whole way around. As well as that one as well. I mean, just bang on the line. And as I say that, just a bit wide for the last and final inside clip. But overall, another really good run from Austin there.
Yeah, it'll be a small deduction on the line score for sure, but I think everything else will make up for it, and it does as he matches his 91. Good job there from Austin as we have Jonathan Simpson sitting on a 75. He's going to want to improve that. Initiates in, holds along that line. He is going quick as he goes too wide for the inside clip. It almost drops the tire there. It looked like he understeered that whole inside zone or inside clipping point as he comes through the wall ride, just making a lot of adjustments on that wheel, trying to hold the car together, really, it looks like, as he bangs off the throttle, goes a little shallow there, hitting that second hash mark for the final inside clip before finishing out his run of qualifying.
And he does get himself an 80, but that is already outside the current top 32 cutoff at 83.7 with Dan Dirks. And we're on to Vicaris sitting on his 90. Looking solid through turn 1 here. Lots of speed. Gets up to the top of the hill a little bit early there. A little hesitant on throttle as he settles into outside zone 4. And starts to drive off 5 just a little bit soon. Goes wide for the inside clip, just a hair there and across that finish line. He'll be close to see if he beats that 90 that he currently has for run 1. And an 88, so falling just shy.
Just shy indeed, but now we have Mustafa. Mustafa's sitting on that 90.3 and always knows how to show out during qualifying as he sends that car in off the initiation, going maybe just a little too deep in that second outer zone, but holding it together for the rest of it as he transitions onto the wall ride, putting it right up on the wall, just raising that rear bumper along it as he transitions down to the second wall. And looking good out there is Mustafa as he comes through that inside clip nice and tight and pushes right out to the edge of the track for the finish. And at 92.7 for Mustafa, so very good job from him as we have Brandon Patrick for his final qualifying run sitting on a 90.7, and it's our final run of Group 4, which means there's only 3 groups of qualifying left. So we see him transition onto that wall, but goes too deep and smashes into it. And that ends his final run of qualifying with a 0, leaving him on that 90.7.
Yeah, the 90.7 is still fairly strong here so far, as that's going to round up 4 groups of qualifying. 40 drivers up on the board. Current cutoff is still Dan Dirks with that 83.7. We'll take a small break and load in the next group of qualifying. right, we are back with some more round 3 qualifying here at Sturup Raceway. We are 4 groups in, and we have just loaded Group 5. And to do their qualifying, Marcus Lundquist will start things out for us. We'll bring up those top qualifiers. Abdul Al-Shetwi with his 93, Alan Hines with a 92.7, and Mustafa with his 92.7 as well. Yeah, Group 5 drivers just taking their practice laps. Drivers are allowed 2 practice laps before we get qualifying underway for their group. And here comes Marcus putting a little bit of heat to those tires. Looks like he's ready to go. Lights start flashing. And he is off for his qualifying run of Group 5. And throwing that car in. Oh, it does go just a little wide there for turn 1, dropping a bit of tire along the outside. Looking good so far through the rest of it. Does give the wall just a little bit of a tap there as he sets in with that angle. And then over angles there, it almost looks like he may have experienced a bit of lag on his end there, as you see the car just kind of sort of stiffen up through the transition. It definitely looks a little odd when their car lags through it, and a 73.7 on the board.
Yeah, that's a score he's definitely going to want to improve. His next up here is Masashi Yoshida. Masashi initiating in that beautiful R33. I'm a sucker for them. See him get through these first 4 clips nice and clean, looking smooth, nice and solid as he transitions into this wall ride. Nice and out there on the wall. Not quite grazing it, but leaving just a little bit of room. Doing a very good job at it as well. Yoshida here really doing a good job for his first run in qualifying.
Yeah, not too bad indeed from Masashi. And an 88.7 on the board, so that does put him into the current top 32. We are on to Brandon Williams for his first run. Overall pretty good through those first 2 outside zones. Grabs that inner clip. Really good at the top of the hill. Very smooth transition. Does make a bit of a correction there as he picks up throttle. Again, keeps it going pretty good here. Very good through that outside zone, and there he goes across that finish line.
And an 85 for Brandon, so something he's going to need to improve as well. I feel like 85 is still a little shy with 3 groups remaining still. As we move over to Artem Makushenko with the 2JZ powered Mustang. He initiates in. Good flick initiation, gets right to angle, holding it through outer zone 1, grabbing inner zone 2, or inside zone 1 into outer zone 3. There we go. Grabbing that wall ride all the way around. Getting good, putting the car where it needs to go. Very smooth run here from Artem. Just shallow out right before the end there. It's looking good.
Yeah, car very settled throughout that whole run there through his first qualifying run. Wait and see, 87.7 on the board, and we are quickly on to Rahman. And throwing his Ferrari in. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem... Okay, yeah, we do have a bit of sound from the car. It's just a bit quiet. Coming up a little shallow for that outside zone at the top of the hill, but looking really nice coming down it and filling that zone all the way to the end. Settles in nicely to this last and final outside zone as well. And there he goes, finishing out his first qualifying run of the day.
You know what? It's nice to see the Penguin back on his car, too. Ran that for so long on his BMW, so now it's nice to see it on the Ferrari as well. Wait for the final score to come in. There we go, an 87.7 for Raman Katastrenka, so very good first run. Good Brian Garcia in the Aston Martin. Getting in. Little hesitant on the initiation, but gets to angle off the line. Holding it through. He's going really quick through these first 4 clips as he puts it for the wall ride. And putting it right on the edge. Good job dropping a little bit of tire off of the exit. That is scary because that means he had almost no room between the wall and him as he comes through that inside zone and finishes out the run.
And 88.7 for Brian Garcia up on the board for his first qualifying run. So we see that cutoff get higher and higher. Brandon Gardner now with his 87.3 and 32nd. And here we go with our next qualifying run here, flying up the hill. Ooh, and does put on the anchors coming into that outside zone. And comes up just a little bit shallow of that outside zone along that wall ride. And there he goes across that finish line. That is Clytus. Our graphics still stuck on Brian Garcia down there. But good run from Clytus. Just a couple of things he'll need to better in his second run.
Yeah, for sure. Sitting on that 79.3. That's some danger noodles right there. We have Robert now in his 370Z. Robert's done very well the past few rounds. Let's see if we can keep that momentum going. Coming through that inside clip, hitting the bump just a little bit. Transitioning into the wall ride, and he is, just like Brian, going really fast through this. Doing a good job as well, putting the car exactly where it needs to be, holding lots of angle out of that last outer zone into the inside clip before finishing out his run.
Yeah, Robert again looking very comfortable in that 370Z and an 88.5 on the board for his first qualifying run. Oh, excuse me, an 89, so correction there. And we are going to Abdul Al-Harbi. Abdul is his returning VDC driver for a couple of seasons now. Very strong driver here and looking good through turn 1 up at the top of the hill. Very smooth transition, picks up throttle with very little correction there, if any at all. Very good transition across into the last and final outside zone as well. Again, just very settled into this run. There he goes, finishing it out.
And 87.3 for Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, which isn't bad, but still needs to improve to make it into the top 32 as we have Oliver initiating in. That S14 of his, doing a good job through the first 2 outer zones and grabbing that inside clip nicely. Holding it together as he comes into that wall ride, but goes too deep into it. Smashes into the wall, and that'll effectively end his first run of qualifying.
Yeah, it certainly will. Unfortunate to see from Olivier there. But we know that he's got it in him to qualify and make it on into that top 32, and he's still got a run left. And we are back around to Marcus for his second run, who needs to better this 73.7 that he currently has on the board. Mr. Hot Boy himself throwing that car in along the edge. Doesn't lift at all. Filling those 2 zones up at the top of the hill on a very good line so far. Picks up throttle when he needs to. Looking to get into the top 32 here. He does shallow up at the end of outside zone 4 as well as that one. So small deductions coming, but overall a much better run from Marcus.
A way better run there from Marcus. Hopefully that's enough to push him through. We are waiting on that score to come in. A little bit of a delay for the score coming in. And there we go. So an 86.3. So he does better it but I don't think he makes it into the top 32. As we move over to Masashi Yoshida, initiating in that R33. Good job so far. Yoshida sitting on an 88.7. He's looking really smooth out there. Nice towards the wall. Nicely putting it on the wall as well as he exits out and transitions to that second wall ride. And look at him push here. Just doing a very good, smooth, and accurate driving job.
Yeah, he certainly did through that second qualifying run there, trying to better that 88.7 to make himself safe as that top 32 cutoff gets higher and higher, and an 89.7, so he does better it by just a single point. And we are on to Brandon Williams, who's currently sitting on his 85, which is shy of the top 32 cutoff right now. Looking good here through turn one, though. Grabs that inner clip, super wide there for outside zone 3. Makes a small correction there as he picks up throttle for outside zone 4 and down that hill along that wall, and looking good there through the last and final one. Very close. There he goes across that finish line. So that might better the 85, but is it going to be enough to push him on into that top 32? And it isn't, just shy, 86.7.
That just shows the skill. I mean, guys that have been here for years, they know how to drive. And it just shows that any little mistake, that can make or break the fact that you're getting into the top 32. As we have Artem coming through that inside clip and out towards clip 4, sitting on an 87.7, initiating into that wall, just making a couple corrections as he comes into it and tries to work his way out to the edge of it. Transitions for the second wall ride and gives it a little tap on the exit. Getting through that last inside clip and finishing out his last run of qualifying.
Yeah, I think what's really going to hurt him is the way he set into that outside zone 4 along that wall. He just sort of stood on the left foot brake there after he picked up throttle and dropped a ton of speed. But here's Rahman with the 87.7. Is currently in the top 32, but may want to better it to be safe. Again, looking good here. Almost, afraid to say anything wrong.
Yeah,
it's getting so close now. 87.7 again at first run. See if that is gonna be enough to better it.
Sadly, it won't be on an 86.7 for his second run. So now we move over to Brian Garcia sitting on an 88.7. Which again is still really close to that danger zone. You want to improve it. Brian did a very good job his first run out. Let's see if he can make up for the mistakes that he did make. Grabs onto that wall. Again, a very fast car around this track. Just watching it run through it, it is just speedy boy everywhere it goes. He's making some good moves here, and hopefully that run was good enough to improve that last score of an 88.7.
Fortunately, the graphic changed before we could see it, but we're just waiting on these judges here.
Still waiting on one more judge to input a score. There we go.
And here we go with Clytus Reganis on his second run. Sitting on the 79, definitely wants to better the score if he wants to make it on into this top 32, but goes wide for that first inside clip. A little hesitant on the transition across the track there for outside zone 4. And settles in a bit shallow of the last one as well and goes wide for that inner clip. Unfortunately, I think Colitis is going to fall just a little bit shy of that top 32 today.
Yeah, and sadly he does, only getting a 71.7 for that second run. Sitting on the 89 is Robert here in the 370Z. And good initiation in, nice to angle. and holds it on that white line through outer zone 1 or outer zone 2 and through inside clip and out to clip 4. Now for the wall ride of clip 5. Puts it really deep into the wall. Ooh, that's scary to watch them do that as they transitions now down the hill, making up for that inside clip. Ooh, just grazing that inside clip as he finishes out the run.
Yeah, not a bad run again from Robert. And a 91.5, so he betters his 89 that he had from the first run. And we are quickly on to Abdulaziz for his second run of the day. Throws that car in nicely. Just flying up the hill, filling that outside zone. And what a transition and settle into this outside zone along the wall. Gives it a little tap, keeps things going. Exceptional run from Abdulaziz Al Harbi there for his second qualifying run.
Yeah, it looked like he was happy about it at the end there. And that is something to be happy about. A 90 on the board over his 87.3. So that is a definite score to be happy about. So you have Olivier sitting on a 0. Can they fix it going through the first 3 clips here? Looking good and solid. Good job through 4 as well as we see them come for the wall ride. Now this is where the mistake was the last time, but makes it through clean. They come for one more wall ride. Ooh, putting it into the wall just a bit, forcing him to leave early and having to take out that inner clip, but gets points on the board.
Yeah, really going for it there is Olivier. It's really just going to come down to if it's enough to make it on into top 32, and unfortunately it is not with those wall taps. He gets an 82 on the board for run 2. And our current cutoff, Rahman with the 87.7, all those drivers with the 87.7 are somewhat in the danger zone here, as we've got about a group and a half left, so 15 drivers left. We'll take another quick break, and we'll be right back with some more qualifying. And we are back with Group 6 of qualifying here at Sturup Raceway. This is round 3 of Season 6. If you're just now joining us, here is the top 8 drivers. Abdul Al-Shetwi still sitting in that number 1 position with his 93. Alan Hines and Mustafa with their 92.7s. We're just letting these drivers get a couple of practice laps So we send them on their way for their qualifying runs. And there goes Pontus trying to destroy his car.
Well, Connor's at the line and already being sent.
Yeah, looking all right through turn 1 here. Filling outside zone 3 at the top of the hill. And very nicely settling into outside zone 4 along that wall ride. Very little corrections in Connor's run here. And there he goes, finishing out his first qualifying run of the day.
And a good score to start off with that 89.3. We move over to Dimitri Mitten in the new Supra. Initiates in. Good initiation through that first outer zone. Nice and high up into the second. Grabbing that inside clip clean. Keeping it very smooth here. Holding his angle nice. Not being too jerky on the wheel. Adding a bit more angle near the end there, but holding it together for the transition. Would have been a tad deeper onto that final wall ride, but looking good is Dimitri Mitten.
Yeah, overall solid run from Dimitri there. We wait on those judges. Qualifying cutoff still sitting at that 87.7. So we see his score come in, and on to Alexander Chevrook for his first run in his Ferrari. Teammates with Alexander Element. Flying through this course, picks up throttle, small correction there, but keeps it going. Leaves that outside zone, transitions across the track very nicely. And a dialed run from Alexander Chevrook.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the resurgence of the Ferrari this year and how well these guys are actually driving it. We wait for the scores to come in for Alexander. They are looking good so far. And a 92.3 for Alexander, so very good starting run. We move over to Quire-Bentley Mauricia in his Supra. Initiates in, holding the line nice. Looking a little higher up onto that white line, but makes it work for the inside clip. Not as deep into clip 4 though as he transitions onto the wall ride. Can he put it deep? He doesn't. Takes more of a conservative line through it, not going too dangerously close to that wall, but making up for it on the second wall run, but over rotating, holds it together, just takes out the front inside clip there, but finishes out the run.
Yeah, an unfortunate one to see there. It was going fairly well for Quire-Bentley in his Supra, but yeah, 67 or 66.7 on the board for his first qualifying run. And we are on to Pontus Jacobson and his FD RX-7. A little tentative on the throttle there as he enters into turn 1. Ends up getting settled in. Nice transition, picks up throttle. And committed to that outside zone. As well as that last one. Looking good here as he finishes out his first run of qualifying.
That poor limiter. The whole way around, just at a 91 though for Pontus, so a very good run from him. We have Luciano Canaro now in his BMW initiating in. Good angle off the initiation, holding it on that white line, going a little far up, maybe dropping one tire. He comes through that inside clip, could have been a little tighter around it, but makes a good transition onto the wall ride. Just holding it all the way around. Looking good with that angle as he comes into the final wall ride, putting it right along the wall. Holding it together nicely to finish it out.
Yeah, solid run from Luciano there. Will it be enough to push him on into that top 32 as that score gets higher and higher into 82.3, so he does fall just shy of the current top 32. Here we are with Oliver Effinger, his A90 Supra. Switching to that car last season and doing pretty well. Had a very good finish at Misano and is looking good here in his first qualifying run, putting the bumper along that wall. He moves through this course. Just a little wide for that last and final inside clip, but overall solid run for Oliver.
Oliver making it work too with a 91.7. Really laying it down there in that Supra of his. Move on to Lukasz. Lukasz Kaziemski. There we go. I know how to say this name. Come on now. As he comes through the first two outer zones looking clean in that BMW of his. Correct me if I'm wrong. Still learning BMWs. It's a 1 Series. Yeah. Looks like a 1 Series.
It is.
Haha. I am learning. Looking good though through these two wall rides though, keeping it nice and smooth. He finishes out his first run.
And an 88 up on the board for Lukasz Kaziemski. And we should be on to Cal Fonseca. Checking with judges here. Yeah, Mauricia is out on track, but I'm not exactly sure why.
Weird.
That was an odd one as I listen on to Discord, but here we go with Cal Fonseca. Throwing his S15 in and looking good here all the way out to the track edge. Flying up the hill and filling that next outside zone. Very smooth transition, picks up throttle very smooth from Fonseca here as he moves on down this hill. Good transition across as well, settles in nicely, keeps things going. He's going to finish out a very strong run there.
And a very strong run indeed, a 92.3, matching Alexander. Definitely someone to look out for to maybe take that top spot away from, I believe it was Mustafa. As we move back around to the top to Connor Christensen. Connor sending it in, sitting on that 89.3, doing a good job through that second order zone. Could have been a tad deeper, but holding it together. Transitions down into that wall ride. Could have been a little deeper on the wall as well, but really pushes out near the end. He hits that wall, just drags the rear bumper along that final wall ride. Comes up just a tad shallow for the inside clip before finishing out his run.
There we go with the right name on the graphic and a 90 on the board for Connor Christensen. So bettering that 89.3 he currently had, and we are quickly on to Dimitri Mitten throwing that Supra into this first turn. Filling that next outside zone on a very good line here. Ooh, maybe even dropped a bit of tire there at that outside zone at the top of the hill. Just running a little bit wide. Nice transition across. Still very smooth from Dimitri here. There he goes, finishing out run 2.
Run 2 going quite well for him with an 87.3, so that'll be a good tiebreaker if that 89 stands. So we go over to Alexander Shabrook sitting on that 92.3, sending it in his Ferrari, putting it nice and high up in outer zone 2 and grabbing inside clip beautifully as he pushes out to clip 4, makes the transition for the wall ride into 5. Can he stick around it even deeper? Looking good. holding all the right angle through it and just keeping that back bumper planted on both of those walls and just touching that inside clip as he comes across the line.
Yeah, another good run from Alexander in that Ferrari there. A little excited after the run. 92.3 is what he's currently sitting on. And in that top 8. And the graphic quickly changes. It's a 92.3.
92.7. The 92.7 there for Alexander Sturup's second run. As we see Mauricia doing his second run, sitting on that 66. So he's going to want to improve. This run's looked better, but will it be enough to get him into that top 32?
Yeah, it's going to be tough again, sitting on that 66.7 and at 86, so it does come up shy, and we are sending Pontus quickly and currently on a 91. Looking good once again. Does come up a bit shallow for outside zone 2, maybe dropping a bit of tire there along the inside clip as well. Good transition across, picks up throttle. And just hammer down through the back half of the course in between those outside zones. And not quite finishing on the outside, but either way, sitting on the 91, he is into that top 32.
And a good score to break there with an 88.7. And we got to hear the destroying limiter of that rotary. As we see Luciano initiating in, sitting on an 82.3, so definitely going to need to improve. Looking good through these first 3 clips so far. No big mistakes as he transitions into the wall ride. Holds it nice and close to that wall. Getting right out to the edge there as he comes out of the first wall and transitions into the second. Just doing a nice smooth run. Way better driving on his second run.
Yeah, wow. Definitely showing he wants to make it into the top 32 with that run. And I imagine that's going to be enough. That was a very good run from Luciano. 88.3 is going to be extremely close there. We move on to Oliver Eppinger as he throws that super snappy initiation there. Does come up a little bit shallow for outside zone 2. Really wide for outside zone 3, and a nice transition. Picks up throttle. Very small angle correction as he sets into that outside zone. Nice and smooth for the last one. Drives in for that inside clip. There he goes across that finish line. Really going after and trying to better the 91.7. It will be close.
As we move over now to Lukas Kaziemski, and 90.3 there for Oliver, so very close to his 91.7. Lukas here sitting on an 88, so he's going to want to bring that up a little bit, and he's doing a good job here, especially around that wall ride. Nice and smooth through it, putting the car where it needs to be, but will that be enough?
And an 85.7, so it will fall just shy. And we are quickly on to Cal Fonseca. 92.3 is what he's currently sitting on, and he is flying through this first turn. Driving in nicely for that inside clip, all the way to the outside for that top of the hill outside zone. Settles in nicely, does give the wall a little tap there, has to correct, keep things going. And just filling it there. Overall, another really good run, just giving the wall, that little bit of a tap, which will be a deduction in his score. So I think it will fall shy of the 92.3 that he currently has, as we watch that cutoff just move up and is now at an 88.3 from Steven Hatcher in that 32nd position. and we will take a quick break, load in the last and final group, which is just 5 drivers. And again, we will be right back with some more qualifying.
Comes in, pulls out a 98.
All right, we are back with some more qualifying. If you're just now joining us, here is your current top 8 after almost all the drivers have gone so far. This is our last and final group of just 5 drivers. And we are quickly on to Tikhon Pileski. Quick out the gate. Nice initiation. Flying up the hill there. And just dialed for this run. Filling all these outside zones. And just extremely precise from Tikhon Pileski in this last and final group of qualifying.
Tikhon really laying it down there, and I mean the score shows it. A 95.3 for Tikhon Pileski. What a run for his first run of qualifying. As we got Shoma Takaya now ready to lay it down in his 180SX. Throwing it in, a little bit of a correction there coming out of outer zone 2, but making it work as he transitions to that wall ride, locking up those fronts big time, but making it work and keeping it going around that wall, keeping the car sideways, transitioning to the second wall now and bringing it into that final inside clip, pushing out to the finish.
Yeah, not too bad from Shoma Takaya there, as you pointed out, that angle correction at outside zone 2, using a lot of left foot brake, but still 91.3. So overall, a good score for him. So we move on to Kazuki Fukushi, throwing his Celica in. This thing is awesome. Introduced this car a couple of seasons ago and has stuck with it. And he's done pretty well in it. Settling into the wall, does have to make a correction there. But he keeps things going. Settling in nicely to that last and final outside zone. Gives it a clutch kick to drive into that inner clip. There he goes, finishing out his first run of the day.
Very good run there from Kazuki as well. Sitting on an 86, so needs to bring it up a little bit to get into the top 32, but I mean, hey, that was a very solid run. As we got Christian Petrov now initiating in, lots of speed on that initiation, holding that angle, getting through the outer zone 2 and pushing down to clip 4, dropping just a little bit of tire, kicking up a little bit of dirt, but really holding it on here. He is just foot to the floor this whole run. Minor corrections here and there, but a very good run here from Christian Petrov.
Yeah, very solid from Christian Petrov there. And 84.3, so does fall shy of that top 32. 88.7 being the cutoff right now. Here we go with Pavel Gross. Throwing his S14 in. Looking good so far through turn one. Quite a bit of left foot brake being utilized. Clean transition does correct just a little bit once he picks up throttle. Again, using a lot of left foot brake here throughout this run. And there he goes across that finish line.
Looking pretty good, and an 84.3. So, yeah, another run that's going to have to be cleaned up there as we move up to the top of Group 7. Tikhon Pleski sitting on a 95.3. Can he improve it? As he initiates in crazy snap to angle, holding it all the way, dropping a tire though through outer zone 1. He is carrying a lot of speed down that, coming up the hill into this wall ride of clip 5, just dragging that rear end along the wall, not even hitting it, just dragging it as we see him come through the final outer zone and into that inside clip. What a showing from
Holy
Tikhon.
smokes. Oh man, and if that's not enough, or oh wow, okay, so a 90.7, getting a little bit of deductions in that run, and does fall shy of the 95, and we're quickly on to Shoma. Ooh, a bit of a hesitation there as he enters in, pushing a bit wide. Has to hesitate on that throttle, pick up grip to stay on the course. He does a good job and keeps things going, but a big deduction coming from this run here. But either way, 91.3 is what he's currently sitting on, and he's gonna finish out this run strong anyway.
And Shoma there with an 86. So, I mean, a good tiebreaker score with that 91.3. As someone who is in the danger zone on an 86, Kazuki Fukushi here needs to improve that score. So he initiates in and comes through the first 2 clips. Nice, grabs the inside clip good. Clip 4 gets through perfectly as well. This run is already looking better than his last one as he holds that angle through that wall ride. Few minor adjustments on that wheel as he comes through the last outer zone, but makes it work through to the finish. Will it be enough?
Yeah, it's going to be close as these scores have moved on up. And a 90.7 on the board. Kazuki makes it into the top 32, and we are on to Christian Petrov with his second run. Currently sitting on an 84.3, so he needs to better. It does have to correct to try and get deeper into outside zone 2. Drops the tire at inside 1. Smooth transition across though and sets into the wall. Nice, but starts to leave it as he comes on down that hill. And settles in another big angle correction within that outside zone. And there he goes across that finish line. So some deductions coming from this run, and I think it is going to fall a bit shy of that top 32, unfortunately. And 82.3.
Sadly, it will not. And one more person in the danger zone. And our final run of qualifying, Pavel Gross in that rotary-powered S14, sitting on an 84.3. Let's see if he can improve it. Looking good so far out through clip 4 and transitioning now to the wall ride of clip 5. Holding it around, kind of tentative on the throttle, but getting back into it. Holding it around, leaving the zone just a little bit early off that wall, but making it work for that inside clip and finishing it out. Round 3's qualifying session here at Sturup.
Yeah, last and final driver going for it, trying to make it into the top 32. Will it be enough here? And an 86.3, so he does fall just shy there. And I know our graphics says Kevin Stump is the 32nd position, but I will have to double check, because sometimes This graphics system on the live stream doesn't pick up those tiebreaker scores and sort of just bundles people together. So we'll wait on these judges to sort them out. But again, what a round of qualifying here at this track. It can be fairly somewhat simple, but it is super hard to master and really get just bang on and perfect.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of the drivers that were out there practicing and really putting in the work on this the track with the small edits that were made, it just shows. It shows in the qualifying 100%. And I mean that run by T-Con Pileski was just wow, a 95.3.
Yeah, absolutely. Just super precise and settled in. No corrections whatsoever up front in those front wheels, and that's something big that the judges want to see. And then line is such a big focus to our judging. It's line comes first, then angle, and then impact only being about 10 points of your score. So sort of the difference between a 90 and a 100-point run with that impact, almost like bonus points. But judges want to see those drivers almost like slot cars going around the track rather than crazy angle and then having to correct and drive out of it and things like that. They want smooth, precise driving, which then leads to really good battles later on today.
Yeah, and looking at the sheet right now, it looks like Brian Garcia was our cutoff. So Brian Garcia was our 32nd driver to make it in.
Absolutely. We'll pull that graphic up now. And as you can see there, T-Con Pileski, number 1, 95.3. Abdul Al-Shetwi finishing second with a 93. Alexander Shavruk with his 92.7, rounding out 1, 2, and 3 of qualifying. And then Alexander Element rounding out the top 8 with a 92.3. Darius Ostraka in 9th with a 91.7. Look at all those 91.7s. And then 91.3 following with Shoma Takaya rounding out top 16. Moving on to Carol Hildebrand, 17th with his 91.3 as well. And Logan Daniels, 24th, rounding out that top 24 with his 90. And there it is. Yasir, 25th with his 90. And then Brian Garcia, 32nd with his 88.7, which he will have to face off against T-Con Pileski later on in the top 32. Again, that is going to do it for qualifying. We typically take about a 1 hour break, but it looks like we finished maybe a little too early, as we're about 20 minutes early. So I believe we're going to come back at the top of the hour. Let me double check. All right, so checking with the rest of the staff there, we will take an hour flat break. So we'll come back just 20 minutes before the top of the hour. That would be 2:40. Look at there. So make sure you tune into that. We'll put up an event that you can join early and chat away about who's going to win. We'll post the bracket up as well. If you're in our Discord, we'll post it there as well. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been round 3 qualifying at Sturup Raceway, and we'll see everybody back in an hour.